and it is time now in the show to take a look at our game changers of the day. Now, game changers, as you know by this point at least, game changers are people that are literally changing the game for themselves, for their community, and have aims and ambitions to change the game for the world at large. And today, our game changer is a 29-year-old dynamic creative working in people development and organizational effectiveness in higher education spaces in Windhoek. And it is Jonas Ileka, co-founder of NIMC. He did that at the end of 2020 as part of a vision which was to service a need for quality tertiary vocational and technical education, mainly short courses, to help diversify the educational pool at an affordable price and an affordable rate. And it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Jonas to the kingdom. Good morning, man.
Morning, man. It's an honor.
Yeah?
Thank you for having me.
No,
Such a great space, man. I'm excited for this interview.
You're the game changer, man. I'm excited to speak to you because there's a lot that's happening. We're in a pandemic and it slowed a lot of people down, but it looks like for certain other people, it inspired people to really push on. But before we get into anything NIMC related, let's go back to the very, very beginning, man.
Yeah.
Who is Jonas for the people out there? How did you get to where you are today?
Cool. I always struggle to kind of define myself, man. I'm always afraid to put myself in a box. But I think the definition that comes closest is that I'm a creative. I've been in the corporate world for a few years now. My background is actually I was born and raised in Walfish Bay. That's why I completed my high school, moved to Windhoek for tertiary education, and then I did human resources as well as organizational development, later on organizational psychology and business. So how did I get here? It's been an unexpected journey. I've always envisioned myself to be an architect, but as fate would have it, I ended up in organizational development in the educational space. So I've worked for a couple of multinational companies. I've worked for NAST, Namibia University of Science and Technology, and I've always had a business mind, and I've done a few startups, but I think this is the new baby, and this is the legitimate child, the NIMC. Yeah.
And how has your own educational background? Because like you said, you've worked at the Namibia University of Science and Technology, and you completed your schooling in the coast.
Yeah.
How has your own educational background influenced your current philosophy on education?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. I've always felt, especially coming from high school, I've always felt something was lacking in the education. I did quite well. I don't mean to blow my own horn, but I did quite well in high school.
Please.
But I always told people I finessed the game. Yeah, call me a game changer. I finessed the game in high school. I kind of figured out how to do well in high school, but I wasn't engaged. I wasn't fully engaged. I didn't feel like I was learning practical skills that I could apply to my life. Because if I was after high school, then I probably wouldn't have gone to varsity. I would have done my own thing, went into business. So that's my thinking behind, my philosophy behind education. I feel like education should be an avenue for you to explore your talents, for you to explore, really break boundaries, and learn actual skills that are of value in the real world. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do with NIMC.
And NIMC, so let's dive into that. What is NIMC and how does it differ from other institutions of learning?
Sure. So NIMC is the Namibia Institute of Manufacturing and Commerce. We are a vocational and technical education institute. And how it differs is that it actually complements what is already existing, whether it's the primary education, basic education, or even higher learning. Because the edge that it has over those three dimensions is that it's more practical. So you get to actually gain skills. And I think that's a very important element that's lacking in our current education system. So NIMC is there to fill that gap, but also to complement. We're not competing against anyone, we're more complementing what is already existing. Yeah.
The Institute currently focuses on the areas of agricultural sciences, occupational health and safety, as well as hospitality. Why are those the current focus areas, or if I'm mistaken, if I'm wrong, are there more?
Sure. No, those are definitely the current ones. We've got occupational health and safety, we've got hospitality and culinary arts, and then we've got our mainstay, horticulture or agriculture. So we decided to start with those specific ones because firstly, I think when you look at livelihoods or just life in general, food security of food sustainability is an important issue, and we're at a stage where our country very much still depends on neighboring countries and imports when it comes to food items. So we're trying to address that problem by upskilling young people and providing avenues for them to not just have the skill, but also for them to have access to the market. So that's in terms of the horticulture element. In terms of hospitality, we know that our country is one of the best tourist destinations in the world, and although that industry actually is quite well serviced, we feel we can bring a different twist to it. Things like ecotourism. We look at culinary arts in terms of indigenous foods. So we think there's value that we can add in terms of hospitality, and there's a lot of demand actually for hospitality and a lot of potential still that's untapped. And then we have occupational health and safety. So the idea behind occupational health and safety is because it's one of those basic elements of manufacturing, which is the direction or vision where we want to head into. So in any manufacturing plant or in any factory, you need to take care of the health and safety elements. So we're trying to service that while we're building towards having truly Namibian and truly relevant manufacturing courses or programs.
It's a lot going on, and I like how you said it's there to facilitate and add on to what is lacking in the market, because from what you described, coming from finishing your school, doing your tertiary education, there are definitely things that you gain, but then there are things that are not there. So I like the fact that NIMC is there to fill the gaps and quite a lot of potholes. I think potholes is the perfect reference at this point in time. Jonas, before we get into where we can get in touch with NIMC and you and the entire team, I have some questions here for you. Unscripted, no pun intended, and not intrusive in any way. If you could offer a newborn child only one piece of advice, what would it be?
It's all good.
It's all good?
Yeah, it's all good.
Away. Hey, I never heard that one before. Hey, Jonas is deep, yo. Who would you most like to be stuck in an elevator with?
Jeez. There's no time limit, I can think of it, right? Or
yes, you can think.
Okay.
You can think of it.
Yeah.
You can think of it. Someone that you might have never even like.
Yeah. Dream. I know she's married, but Ali Angula. But it's not. It has nothing to do with the married part. I don't want to go too far. I think locally we've got a lot of amazing people. Not sure if you're familiar with Ali Angula, but she's quite an inspiration to me. She was one of those pioneers when it comes to manufacturing and really trying to produce locally and trying to empower local manufacturers and local small-scale manufacturers. So I'd like to be stuck in an elevator with her just to pick her mind a bit, get to know each other and possibly collaborate.
That's what's up, man. And it's the era of collaboration indeed. How can collaborators, future collaborators of NIMC, get in touch with you and NIMC?
Sure. So we're on social media. Our Instagram handle is nimc.institute. Same handle on Facebook, nimc.institute. You can also drop us a mail at info@nimc.edu.na, or you can visit our campus in Dorado Valley, opposite Dorado USAVE, F6090.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jonas. You are our game changer of the day. Continue changing the game, again, not for yourself, not just for the community, but for the world at large. And thank you so much for joining us, man. We can't wait to catch up with NIMC in the near future and see the strides that you guys are making.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having us. We hope to be back.
Awesome stuff. Game changing indeed. It looks like NIMC is on the road to success.